Okay, we're going to do a quick tutorial video about content production. This is article marketing, content marketing, but we're going to do it just a little bit differently. And the sense that we're producing content like we would for a magazine or a multimedia type of publication. We're going to start with our draft article on the screen here. And the articles are going to be written in such a way that they are about a fifth grade reading level with a high um, readability index. So always track changes when you're working on content. Let's say the article's written, you've done edits. We want a flesh reading ease of 60 or above. We want a, flesh Kincaid grade level of fifth grade to eighth grade. Now, I say fifth grade because if it's online content, people tend to read faster at a lower level. Plus, with an international audience, English may not be their primary language. So we're basically writing to a least common denominator because most of this is public content. Now, our more critical content that is in the members area might be a little more complex, but we want to keep it simple in the public area. So you've written your content. Here's an example of content that was written. The changes are shown. It could be 2 or 3 editors on a piece as things are passed through the cycles. But you want to go ahead and write it clean and clear for a human. We are not writing content for the search engines. Search engines don't give us money. We get money from our clients who are real live humans. So we want to write the content so it's clear. We want to write the content so that it's focused, and we want to write the content that is relevant and useful. So any links, we're going to use multi-markup to express the links themselves. That way, we can see what the links are in a plain text document. We want to highlight any keywords that are relevant to the content itself, but more from a navigational perspective rather than a hot link, or we're trying to boost keyword relevance or anything, or backlinks. We want it to be navigational value to the reader themselves. This is a lot different than what you'll hear other places, but remember, readers are customers. After you've gotten the readability right and the writing for a human, you're going to do this editing a couple times. Then you're going to work out meta content. The meta content is your headlines, your descriptions, and your keywords associated with the content. They are written after the fact or as you are doing editing cycles. So here's a piece of content with an example. We have a title, Honesty is the Best Policy. And when you're in Word, it doesn't really matter if it says title or not, or if it's the right format. You can do this in a text editor, any type of RTF, the rich text format. The headline is literally using a headline wizard or a headline generator to get short, quick little headlines. Discover what your mother used to tell you about honesty. You can tune these down so that they're just pithy, focused headline. How to avoid failures that everyone else in business tells you when everybody else in business tells you white lies. We want to do this headline generation for not only testing of headlines as content in the blog itself. So we're using a headline testing to know which of these headlines grab the attention of a reader to get them to the initial article, because without their attention, we don't have any readers. And then also to convey the value of the article itself so that they come and read it. But we're going to expand on those headlines in the description, which is like your first sentence in a piece of copy. So here's what's unique about what we're doing here is we're writing, and you can write some of this meta content in advance, but we're writing articles and then promoting the article in its meta information. And I know a lot of people don't use meta tags anymore. We're not talking about meta tags. We're talking about conveying the original article in as few words as possible in some kind of compelling headline. So you're asking the reader, would you like to know um, about the little white lies that people tell and why honesty is the best policy? Do you want to see how little truths in the job search can keep you ahead of your career and keep you away from a path of temptation? We just want to tease them with the content. The reason the meta information is there is because the headline can be used in social media to link back to the article. The headline can be used after you in a marketing campaign if this content tests well. The headline plus a description can be used in a short form postcard that goes out and invites somebody to visit the article, or in a newsletter. This content is going to be used multiple times. So your headline, your description, which is a little bit longer. So while little lies speed up some things, they cause fractures that break down everything else. How you can avoid the problems that come with the high pressure of the procurement career, or a procurement career. We're teasing out the story. Now, keywords are important too, but you want to use keywords that are actually used in the article itself. You want to use keywords that are relevant to what we're talking about, not necessarily popular on the internet. Remember, we're working with a niche audience here. So you build out your keywords, your headlines, your descriptions for the readers again. The last thing you're going to do, number 4, is you're going to start producing a little bit of related content. The articles themselves are going to be about 400 words, 300 to 400 words. And they're going to be AIDA formula, attention, interest, desire, action. But the action is really just to keep coming back to read content. Unless there is a cross-reference. There could be an editorial cross-reference in here. But we're going to take that content and then we're going to summarize the tips out of it. Tips and quotations. So tips, for example, give yourself plenty of time in order to before shipments are needed, so that you don't have the ethical challenges of a rushed order. And as you notice, I'm not reading actually what's on the screen. I'm conveying the concept. So this doesn't have to be perfect. It has to just be there so that we can convey the concept. Because the tips, for example, might be in a trust series on an email newsletter. It might be in some kind of retention series. They might be tips that are in a newsletter. They might be tips in another piece of information that reference back to this public content. They're just concepts. Hold those who put the requisitions responsible for slow and late requests that often put you in a bad position with vendors. That alludes to the fact that sometimes procurement professionals have to lie because something's late and we really got to get a turnaround. These tips, again, are 3 to 5 tips. These tips are really about bite-sized pieces of this content, but they may lead to other content. So, for example, if this article turns out to pull a lot of traffic on the blog, you can come back to this content and say, okay, well, what else could we write about? So we're writing about the honesty is the best policy this time. It was very popular. Let's talk about why honesty is the best policy. Let's do another article to talk about simple examples of why honesty is the best policy. We might come back to this and we might pull a quotation, and the quotations are relevant to the topic of the article. Here's a quotation here. Don't tell lies ever, no matter what, not even little white lies. Well, that could be the opening to a long feature article about how to be more honest as a procurement professional. So every bit of public content really is opening the door to feature writing. Every bit of meta information, whether it's quotes or tips, identifies the opportunity to pitch an article. So let's say honesty is the best policy is a very popular article. You may come back and pitch a magazine, the little truths of procurement that are often missed and cause big misunderstandings. So again, not looking for perfection. What we're looking for is concepts, ideas, um, teasers, things that are going to get a reader interested. Maybe they want to learn the little truths about procurement that keep them from missing big opportunities. We're just getting that language in there so that when we reuse the content, it has more value. If this content turns out to be popular, we have more context. But these tips and these quotes come from the content itself. So when you read over the article as you're doing the editing, a tip might be, so here you go. Your character is judged by the consistency of your words. Never tell a little white lie, because it will always be discovered. So we're just extracting it. We're distracting it. And then that extraction identifies other parts that we can build on over time and then use in articles, we can use in other content. But here's the key. This isn't about being a thought leader. This isn't about getting the massive amount of content out. This is about themes, concepts, and helping a reader understand the value of what can be offered so that they raise their hand, sent to them even months later. You can say, hey, the tip of the day is give yourself plenty of time so that you don't ever have to tell white lies. And by the way, if you want to see how little truths can keep your career on track and prevent you from temptation and challenges that come with lying, then click here to discover the truth that your mom told you about. Honesty is the best policy. And then you have the link. These pieces can get put back together in many different ways to make short form newsletter articles, to make broadcasts, to add into a marketing campaign, to measure the interest and desire of your visitors through your analytics software. And these pieces go out in 4 steps. You're going to write the article for a human and make sure the readability and the grade level is appropriate. You're going to write the article for a human in such a way that delivers value up front, using an AIDA formula, using a problem, pain, solution formula, some formula to help the reader understand that there's a problem they need to solve. Then you're going to update the meta content. And then finally, you're going to come through and you're going to expand the article a little bit with related content. All this goes together in one package. And then that package is put into OneNote under the area of content, and it is also extracted into Scrivener for our volume anthologies and things that will be used by for marketing offers. We might give away the whole year's worth of the newsletters. We might give an example of different content. Here's some of the trust series. So here's some tips. You should know how to balance things up. Well, that came out of an article. If people ask questions like, what should we balance up? That gives us an idea for a new article. Every piece of content is about dialogue. Here's a quote, for example. The greatest good you can do for another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him his own. Benjamin Desiree. Now, this might need to have who's Benjamin Desiree. That gives content social value, gives association. If you want to convert more visitors into buyers from your website, then you need to know how to use content and words to sell. What you've seen here is a brief demonstration of a content strategy, an article marketing strategy, a development strategy that explains the workflow in the back office. See, you can write content, but if you're not able to get that content out in front of buyers, then you might as well have not written anything in the first place. If you'd like more information about how to do this in your business, whether you're a copywriter or you're responsible for writing copy or you write copy for clients, this method gets you results. Write our offices. Visit us at www.adbriefings.com That's adbriefings.co.uk. And just open a support ticket and be sure to mention L0427A. That's this podcast. And we'll get you information about how you can boost article marketing, write content that sells, and on the back end. See, now this isn't article marketing from the old days. This is information, resources on the website, private area, about how to do the workflow to get content that's recyclable, content that can be used in multiple areas, and even if you're doing article pitches, how to keep that back office going, your editorial assistant, your support staff, your junior copywriters, how to keep them all working together to create for you content that sells, content that brings in leads, content that puts butts in seats so that you have an audience to interact with. This is hardcore direct response, but what we'll get you information about is the back end logistics to go from content to leads to buyers, and that your whole editorial flow on the back end works, whether you're using subcontractors, whether you're writing yourself, whether you have internal or external production. This is the process to get more accomplished. So again, if you want people to come to your website, to come to your business, to come to your location, or those of your clients, visit www.adbriefings.co.uk for information about program L0427A. When you visit the website, just contact us. We'll get you an information kit and details about how you can get your workflow straight so you can take people from names on a list to dollars in your bank account. I'm Justin Hitt. Thanks for listening. This is Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips. Your questions are welcome. Be sure to mention program L0427A. That's how we know that this content was valuable to you.